Fred, Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky, fredmccoy.com or hatfieldsmccoysmuseum.com for all the information you might need.
Right.
This is not going to be a keeping it real video. This is actually going to be a video on one of the major players in the Hatfield McCoy feud. And Sheila, come on over here. You can.
I can help you hold it.
Well, you're going to. Yeah, you're the Perry Cline
Yeah.
person, because Sheila and I both feel that Perry Cline got a
Raw deal.
a bad rap
Yeah.
during the Hatfield McCoy miniseries. I don't know. I don't know a lot of things in life, but I don't know why we'd rather degrade people or put people down than we would give them their due. I mean, if they're bad, tell about them. That's fine. But if you don't have the goods there, you know, it's wrong. So anyway, we're going to talk about Perry Cline. And
I like Perry Cline.
Perry Cline was the youngest sheriff to ever be elected in Pike County, Kentucky. And he turned out to be an attorney. He was the jailer, Pike County jailer for a while. But let's talk about what happened, how it got started. On January 5th, 1849 in Logan County, Jake Rich Cline and Nancy Fuller. Rich Jake was his dad's name, Rich Jake Cline, who was a prosperous landowner in the Tug Valley area, and the second oldest son of Peter Cline. Unlike the way he was portrayed in a movie, Perry Cline was an honorable man to all who knew him in Pike County. He did, in fact, practice law. He was a wealthy and prominent man as well. Perry was a lawyer, deputy sheriff, deputy jailer, and even served 2 terms as the sheriff of Pike County, Kentucky, making him the youngest sheriff to ever be elected. He also served in the state legislature and as a school commissioner. In fact, a school was named in his honor, the Perry Cline High School. He also owned thousands of acres of land in the Kentucky side of the Tug River, as well as West Virginia. Perry Cline was married September the 19th, 1868 to Martha Atkins in Pike County, Kentucky. They had several children together.
Right.
The most recent movie had Perry Cline portrayed as a stalker or a pedophile with interest in Rosanna McCoy. This never happened any more than the end of the movie, when he was shown with the young woman and Bad Franks joked about Perry liking them young. Perry and his wife lived a long life together and are buried side by side in Pikeville. I'm probably mistaken, and I'll say it ahead of time just in case.
Just in case.
But I think Perry and his wife were married for 30-some years maybe, I believe. I could be wrong. But he was never divorced. He was always married to the same woman, and they're buried beside of each other today. I think that sometimes speaks a lot of a person's integrity or character. If you've been married 3 or 4 times, or you've nothing wrong with that.
No.
I don't want to go there. But I don't think you could say this man was as much of what they portrayed him to be as what he proved that he wasn't through marriage and with the same woman.
Exactly.
Perry Cline was no relation. Another myth buster. Perry Cline, Altina Waller says that Perry Cline was Randall's brother or cousin or something, or she makes reference to Perry Cline was kin to the McCoys. Perry Cline was absolutely no blood kin to the McCoys. Perry Cline's sister, Patsy, married Asa Harmon McCoy. So he would have been Asa Harmon McCoy's brother-in-law, but no blood relation whatsoever.
Exactly.
Perry was no relation to Randall McCoy. However, he was the brother-in-law to Asa Harmon. Asa was married to Martha, Patsy Cline, Perry's sister. Perry was upset because Devil Anse had either killed his brother-in-law Asa McCoy or had Jim Vance to murder him. Devil Anse's son Cap was also responsible for Perry's nephew, Jeff McCoy, who was also murdered on the Tug River. 1861, Devil Anse Hatfield began trespassing on the Cline property around Grapevine Creek by taking valuable property off the land. Hatfield had taken advantage of the fact that Jacob Cline Sr. had died in 1858, leaving the owners of this tract of land to the young orphans.
Yeah.
Jacob Jr., age 14, and Perry, age 12. Devil Anse claimed that he had the title to the land through a survey by his father. However, to this day, no such survey has ever been produced. And we've discussed this in another video, so we won't harp on it.
Right.
But once again, people can tell you the sky's green if you want to believe it. They say that Devil Anse won the court case of 5,000 acres. We have never seen that court case where he won against Perry Cline anything, or where it was ever in court. If it's out there, that's great. We'd love to see it. We'd love to put a copy in our museum.
Oh yeah, please.
But what happened to what information we could find is that when Rich Jake died, he willed, you're going to see the will in a minute.
Yeah.
He willed the property to his two boys, Jacob and Perry, 12 years old and 14 years old. And Devil Anse came in and he timbered the property. He got all the timber off the property. He didn't want the land. He wanted the timber off of it. That was his MO. And after he got it, then him and Perry and him had hard feelings over the land. So it'd be nice to see a court record or something where that took place.
Yeah.
Devil Anse resumed his trespass and illegal timbering, and the Cline boys could not convince him to leave. In 1869, a meeting was held at the mouth of Grapevine Creek. The meeting appeared to be mere formality. According to Jacob Jr., Devil Anse was trying to take his land by the muzzle of a gun.
Ooh.
Now that's the 14-year-old boys statement on what had happened when he met with Devil Anse, him and his brother Perry. Now remember, Jacob was 14 years old, Perry was just 12. He said Devil Anse was trying to take their land by the muzzle of a gun. Don't sound like Devil Anse, does it? Perry Cline became a lawyer,
You're doing good.
Perry Cline became a lawyer after Devil Anse had swindled him out of his property and timber. He was not upset over the property that Devil Anse took as much as he was over his sister losing her husband, Asa, and him losing his nephew. Remember, after Asa was killed, Perry took on the task of helping to raise, it's over there on the board there, Lark and Jacob and Bud and all the Asa's kids. He had to help raise his sister's children at that point. And he got fairly close to him, I imagine. And when they killed Jeff, which was the youngest one, he didn't like that neither. So it wasn't as much as what people want to act like it was over land as it was because Rich Jake left him all kinds of property. You'll see in the will. After Asa was murdered, he helped his sister Patty raise the kids, Lark, Bud, Asa, Jr. Perry Cline was friends with William Francis, known as Bill France. Bill was a general in the Union Army. Bill was bushwhacked and shot to death in 1863 in retaliation for the killing of one of the Logan Wildcats, one of Devil Anse's group, who at the time was stealing horses from General France. Let us not forget Devil Anse was a backwoods bushwhacker and thief during the Civil War. During and after the Civil War. After watching the History Channel of the assessment of Perry Cline, it might remind us to not always believe everything we see on TV. Giving him his due, Perry Cline, attorney, was no different than a police officer, and that you do make enemies. As far as an attorney goes, he was said to be one of the most intelligent and honest around. It was only after he had been bamboozled at the early age by Devil Anse that he figured he never wanted to be hornswoggled by anyone again, and that's when he became an attorney. There was a thought come to there just then, and but it come and left me. Down here is a warrant. Everybody says we never print nothing bad. Well, again, sometimes there's not as much bad on some people as there are on others, and we go wherever the stories take us. But down here at the bottom, she'll take a close-up of this.
Yes, I'll put this at the end of the video and cut it up in little segments so you can stop and look at it anytime you want and read it.
This is for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, 1874, March the 10th. Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Perry A. Cline, voluntary manslaughter. Perry had actually killed somebody, and there's his bond at $100 that he posted. And he actually killed somebody and was indicted over it. And so there's a court case on Perry Cline. You can research more if we don't have it in here. Educated Blacks was created at Perry Cline School. Now, before we read Perry's will here, I'll fill you in on a little bit of it. The will, the person that took care of the will down here, his attorney was, it's witnessed by Charles Mounts, Robert Howard, and Mitchell Mounts, Logan County Courthouse, April the 2nd, 1858, last will and testament of Jacob. But Perry's lawyer, E.F. Tiller, was Perry's lawyer that drew up his will and everything, drew up Rich Jake's will. And after Rich Jake died, with them boys being 12 and 14, the attorney stole everything he had. He took anything tangible that he could carry, with guns, money, jewelry, anything that he could take, he took. The boys didn't get what they were willed, the lawyer did. The boys got the land, and the boys got, here's something interesting that, you know, until you read something like this, you really don't think how it was back in those days when slavery was among us. And I, Perry Cline of the County of Logan, the state of Virginia, do hereby make my last will and testament. Number 11.
Jacob Cline.
Huh?
You said Perry Cline, but you mean
Did
Jacob.
I say, okay, I'm sorry. See how I do that? Thank you, Sheila. I said Perry Cline. I'm looking right at it. The other day on one paper I read Ellison Hatfield instead of Devil Lance Hatfield. I'm looking right at it, reading, but...
You just got so much going on.
I, Jacob Cline.
There you go.
Which was Perry Cline's father.
Right.
And we're already down to number 11. I didn't bore you with putting all the other sheets on here of all the property and all that stuff. But let's look at number 11. I give to my sons, Perry and Jacob Cline, my 3 Negro slaves, Moses, Harry, and Charlotte. And I appoint W.T. Cline as agent to manage and oversee the above named slaves, as I destine him to convey thence to stay at my home farm, and for him to labor for the support and take care of my 3 children until they become of age. And further, I empower the said William T. Cline to sell the said slaves if they refuse to labor and become wasteful or likely to destroy the effects of my personal estate. And if the said slaves shall be sold, I desire the money arising from said sale to be divided equally between my 2 sons, Perry and Jacob Cline. I give my 4 sons equal shares. So he's got other kids here, equal shares of my money and cash. And you can read all that, the rest of the will down through there. But we thought this was so interesting here. He's actually leaving these 3 slaves in his will to his 2 sons. And he says if they don't perform, to sell them and split the money.
That's crazy.
Now, let me tell you what happened here. Me and Sheila found heartbreaking. Not only did these slaves not break nothing or tear stuff up, or they had to sell the slaves, what did they do?
They raised them. They took them in and raised them and took care of them.
Charlotte, Mose, and Harry farmed that property, raised those 2 boys, and raised them up. And here's how Perry Cline repaid them. Now, in the movie, of course, you've seen a pedophile. You've seen old...
They portrayed him as a butthead.
Yeah, you've seen. But let's see what Perry Cline did here in life. Perry A. Cline High School was the first colored school in Pike County, Kentucky. It was established prior to 1875, and the school was located in Pikeville. There was 63 Negro children and 1 Negro teacher, in Pike County in 1890. The Pikeville Colored School began as a 2-year high school, but was a 4-year school before closing in 1966 when Pike County schools were fully integrated in 1967. Belfry High School was listed as having the first white integrated students. Belfry is where Sheila and I graduated high school from. And I remember Clemson Jones. I fought wrestling on the wrestling team, and Clemson Jones was a black guy, and that was the toughest fella that he could fight, wrestle, the one ever meet there was. But
it's good.
Anyway, Perry, without going through all this, lived on the homestead in the old home and with the slaves that he inherited.
He was actually a nice guy.
You can read everything there for yourself from what we could find out. Like Sheila says, we didn't know Perry Cline, but everything we read, it's nothing like he was portrayed.
No.
And that's what confused us, because all the books, any stories, any credible books or stories that you could put stock into. Now again, you're not going to get some authors to brag on him, just like you're not going to get me to brag on Devil Anse. I'll brag on Devil Anse. Devil Anse was a survivor.
Sure.
Devil Anse was a heck of a shot, a horseman. Training bears. There's many good qualities about Devil Anse. I'm not saying, but there's some people that won't brag on,
Perry Cline or McCoy.
They're not going to brag on Perry Cline or Frank Phillips.
Yeah.
But again, that's from the other side of the
their
river,
choice.
and that's understandable. Yeah. But that's the story that we have on Perry Cline. There's a whole lot more than that out there.
Yeah.
We're just giving these small stories because people don't like watching the real long ones.
Yeah.
And we just give you enough to make you interested that maybe you'll go get on there. Don't look at people's books, guys.
Yeah.
Or at least look at the author. Look at the authors.
Yeah.
And, Coleman Hatfield, which was Devil Anse's grandson, he was Cap's grandson. He was Devil Anse's great grandson, I guess, because he was
TC was
when he did.
Coleman
A was his father. Coleman A was Cap's son. So Devil Anse would have been his great grandfather. But Coleman Hatfield, he's got a lot of discrepancies, which everybody does. Everybody's got discrepancies in their books, but they're not blatant. There's a lot of these books is just they just write them to say they wrote a book, and they'll put the history when they don't even know that they was part of the families until they was grown. And be leery. But it's some interesting stuff out there, and it's fun we love it.
Yeah.
This is our hobby. Yeah. This is what we do as a hobby together. We both enjoy it.
Sure.
And we love it. When we love it, you might not believe that, when people prove us wrong. I know you're thinking, oh, bull.
Yeah.
We do. It makes it interesting. But listen, you can't just say, Fred, that's not what I heard. I heard this. Well, that's not proving us wrong. Proving us wrong is showing us documents, that says, hey, this didn't happen. Or, hey, that's not the will. Hey, that's showing us. When you do that, we'll give you credit.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. You can say it.
Please like and subscribe. And if you decide to come to the museum, please call or go to the website and look to see if we're open. Thank you.
We're only open on Saturdays from 6 to 10 right now. Anything that ever changes, we'll post it on the website. And other than that, Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum. See you next time.